Hello, come on in, everybody. It's wonderful to see everyone. Hi. So, we're just admitting more folks. I just want to give you all a warm welcome and let you all know that Mark is here, and so is Tony D'Angelo with the Success with Ease podcast. So, we are going to be going over a little bit about the magical path, a little bit about the year on the magical path with Mark Allen, and also answering any other questions that you guys have. So we've got some wonderful questions already submitted. And then if you guys have any more that come up as we're chatting, you can kind of put it in the chat, or we may have time to open it up at the end. I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to Tony to introduce himself, and then we will give it to Mark. So hello, Tony.
Hello, Amber. Well, thank you so much for organizing this amazing group of people here to all listen to our wonderful sage and mentor in so many ways, Mark Allen. So, folks, my name is Tony D'Angelo. I've been doing a long-term podcast with Mark Allen. It's called the Success with Ease Show. So you can check that out anywhere. And for our listeners of the Success with Ease Show, this will be really a special guest. We get to hear live Q&A with Mark Allen talking about his wonderful upcoming program, a course I've personally taken, transformed my life. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for this course. So not only am I a fan, I'm also a product of Mark, and I'm so grateful. So passing it over to Mr. Mark Allen. Mark, welcome, and thanks for granting your grace on everybody's presence
Oh,
here. We're grateful for that.
thank you so much, Tony and Amber. But Tony, what you said, I was thinking as I walked into the office today that the reason I do this all, I don't need to do it financially or anything, but the reason I do it is because of the people that have gone through the various programs that contact me with their stories. Tony was one of them. He had a great story reading my book, Visionary Business, and someday we'll get into that. The long version of that story is really a miracle. But so many people have contacted me saying, I was struggling with this or that and took your course, and now here's my situation. And sometimes it just blows me away. It's wonderful. That makes it all worthwhile. So I welcome you all, and I invite you all to become the next chapter in my book of all these stories. So, but first, let's just relax. Let's start the way I love to start a lot of things. Just sit in a relaxed way. Take a deep breath and feel that energy at the top of your head, that bright light energy. And then as you exhale, let that energy just go through your body, just releasing, relaxing, cleansing, healing every cell. Just let it all go through your whole body. Take another deep, deep breath. Feel that light again at your head and feel it just descend through your whole body. Let everything go. Let all stress go. Let all tension go. Let it all go. One more time, one more deep breath. Feel the light at the top of your head, and as it descends, let all thought go. Just feel how good it feels to deeply relax. Feel that stillness within. Uh, I close my eyes and see a field of light, and I feel that light nurturing and releasing, relaxing, healing every cell of my body. And I know that light and life and love is who and what I am, now and forever. So be it, so it is. So, welcome everyone. I'm delighted to be here. I have some questions. Might as well just start with them all. I'm really looking forward to starting the magical path again in January. I realize uh, I benefit too, as much as a lot of other people. It's good for me too, just like doing that meditation is very good for me that I start with. Uh, so I have selfish motives here. I'm doing it for selfish reasons, which is good. I I end my book, Greatest Secret of All, with what to me is key. The key to a life well lived is love and serve yourself and others. And that's meaningful to me. I think it's very good to take care of yourself first. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's a natural thing to do. And when you do take care of yourself, you love and serve yourself, give yourself the time you need to nurture yourself, then you do become fulfilled. And then you really are capable of loving and serving others in wonderful ways, coming from a place of strength and also of stillness, ideally. So I have some questions here that I just read the first couple and then I will go through them all. This first one was really good. How would you say your course, A Year on the Magical Path, is different from reading The Magical Path on my own, the course or the book? Good question. Very good question. Because it is very much the same information, the same process I went through, and I have the same buffet, I often call it, of all these things that I suggest you can do if you wish, take it or leave it. Well, what is the difference between the book and the course? I'm reminded of something Eckhart said to me when I was attempting to take one of his audios and turn it into a book. And he read what I wrote and he said no to me in the sweetest fashion and the most insightful fashion because what he said was, he said, you know, the spoken word has a certain magic and the written word has a certain magic, but they're not the same magic, meaning just adapting spoken to written, uh, transcribing it doesn't uh, have the same magic, which is a very insightful thing. And I think that's true then of this course and the book I've written. A lot of it depends on you and how you learn. Um, Ideally, I think it's good to do both because this kind of thing, at least for me, is the kind of stuff that I need to keep repeating, keep repeating. But if you learn best um, from quietly reading on your own, what is reading? It is an amazing transmission from one mind to another in a very quiet solo space. You're sitting alone with that book. What do? You connect with the thoughts of that writer, and it can be magical, can be very good. So I highly recommend that. The course, though, when you do see the person's face and you hear them speak, especially if it's spontaneous, I find people that write their speeches are they're boring. They're totally boring. Uh, it's spontaneity. It's being with a person who's authentic and honest, and uh, that in itself can be a transmission in a way of of teachings in a way that you don't necessarily get from the book. I just heard that Martin Luther King, giving his famous I Have a Dream speech, had written the speech and he started reading it and a gust of wind blew it away. And so then he launched into I Have a Dream. He launched into his most amazing, inspiring talk, one of the most amazing in American history, that's for sure. And there is there is a power in the spoken word that is different from the written word. So it's your choice. Make your choice. Okay, more questions. I've tried so many spiritual practices and I always lose momentum. What do you think makes this process actually stick? Ah, good question. What I keep saying and what I keep doing is I think we all do that. Almost all of us. There's a few amazing exceptions like Eckhart Tolle and Hui Neng 1,000 years ago in China. Those are the only two I could think of right at this moment that just heard it once and got it every moment for the rest of their lives. But that's very, very rare. For me and for most people, we get it, but then we do lose momentum. We forget. And so, what do we need to do? Keep reminding ourselves over and over and over. Keep finding just one phrase is all it takes. One phrase. In the first month of the course on Magical Path, we deal with just the power of thought. How mind is the master power that molds and makes, as it says in the beginning of As You Think. Mind is the master power that molds and makes, and we are mind, and evermore we take the tool of thought, and shaping what we will, bring forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. We think in secret, and it comes to pass. Our world is but our looking glass. That's, and once you understand that, there's nothing you need to nothing more you need to understand, really. But yes, I think almost all of us lose momentum. Almost all of us forget. And so we do need to just keep reminding ourselves over and over, do something, do something. I highly recommend a morning ritual of some kind. Just taking, can be 5 or 10 minutes to remember what you know, to remember who you are. Who are you? Ramana Maharshi, the famous guru in India of the last century, yeah, who influenced Ram Dass, and that's how he became famous. But his question over and over was, "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" And we realize our typical concept of us is what Eckhart calls the little me, and we're much greater than that. We are, in fact, completely connected with the whole universe. And that connection is where we have the power to magically create whatever we want. So, if you could give us only one piece of advice for the year ahead, what would it be? I just gave it to you. Just remember over and over, you are a vast creative magician, able to summon the forces of creation. It's an amazing process. I often say we'll never understand how the process works. At one point in some book, I tried to explain how the process works, but I realized we can't really understand the amazing mystery of it all, of the universe. I mean, the Big Bang and how we all started with, as clouds of dust and of two very simple elements at first, just hydrogen and helium. And somehow, some great force ended up creating the stars, the planets, and the animals, the plants, and us. Somebody sent me a great email, said, here's an early picture of you, and it showed this star, this beautiful star. I said, yeah, we are, the molecules of our body were in those stars. We are star stuff, as Carl Sagan said. So one piece of advice, remember who you are, and you are a powerful, creative person. So, what are your thoughts on prayer, ancestral karma, and the future of things? Oh my. Okay, there are three very different things. Prayer is one powerful, magical thing to do. Uh, what is prayer? Prayer is focusing the mind. Mind is the master power. To me, prayer and affirmations and whatever you want to call it, just focused thinking, creative visualization, they're all the same thing, all the same thing. We're just connecting with the natural powers we have. I know I waited until close to the end of this year to quote this amazing magician. I've only read this one quote of his because I never read him. His name was Eliphas Levi. Eliphas Levi. And where I read it was in a goofy novel by Aleister Crowley called Moonchild. Kind of a fun novel. But in it, the young magician quotes Levi, where his old teacher says, "How are you?" or what's up, you know. And the young magician says, "I have omnipotence at my command and eternity at my disposal." Well, I've reflected on that a bit. If you can take that in, if you can say that, think of how expansive that is. Omnipotence is the entire power of the universe, of course, the creative power of the universe. Omnipotence, omnipotent, all powerful. I have omnipotence at my command and eternity at my disposal. What a powerful phrase. What a powerful, what do you call that? It's not really a prayer, it's an affirmation, a declaration. In the Bible, in Job, it says, and you shall declare a thing, and it will become something or other. It, it will become manifest in your life, roughly paraphrased. But whatever you call it, prayer is just a powerful, powerful tool that can really help us create. If we don't want to get religious about it, we can just call it affirmations, declarations. We can call it focused thinking. We can call it strategic planning if we want to, be a business person. What is strategic planning? It's the same thing. It's focused thought, making a plan. So my thoughts on prayer are, I think it's a wonderful thing to do. It's simple. I find, and some great teachers said this too, the simplest prayers are the best. The simplest. Same with affirmations, declarations. When you say them in words a 7-year-old can understand, I really think they're more powerful for our mind and body and spirit. Our subconscious somehow grasps things. Put your prayers in the simplest possible words. Put your affirmations in the simplest possible words. A lot of times people will run their affirmations by me. And a lot of times I'll say, that's awfully wordy. It's even true of books. I mean, I remember getting one really good book, but the woman had just gotten a PhD. And so she wanted to impress you with her vocabulary. And that was back in the old days when I personally edited books. I rewrote every sentence and took all the 50-cent words, turned them into 5-cent words, and made it much, much clearer. I told her she first freaked out, but then she got with a program and the book sold very, very well. And I told her, look at creative visualization. That writing is so simple. Really, a 10-year-old can read that book and understand it. When I first read it, I thought, this is awful simple language. Maybe people will think it's too simple. You know, well, I don't know, 6, 7 million copies have sold or whatever it is internationally, and not one person has said it's too simple. So keep your prayers simple. The simpler, the better. Uh, Ancestral karma. We do have ancestral karma, and we can change it. What is ancestral karma? It's it's in our DNA, really, even, and it is passed on. And we can talk about collective karma. Eckhart does a lot, really. Uh, the collective consciousness of certain areas, how uh, you can talk about certain areas being more evolved, even in consciousness, than other areas on Earth. And there is a collective karma, collective consciousness. And one of our main purposes in life, it's the way I see it, is to overcome that collective karma, to rise in consciousness so that we're no longer carrying on any of the the fears and the anger and jealousies of our ancestors. We're instead moving into a much higher level of consciousness, which is based on love rather than fear. The Course in Miracles deals with that and basically says there are two basic emotions. All the others spring from those. One is fear, which is even physically a lower emotion, and there's our flight and fight response. And there's good reasons for fear, and there's good reasons for flight or fight, but we overdo them often. There are no longer any saber-toothed tigers around here we don't have predators that are going to kill us any minute anymore. So often we don't need the flight or fight. We don't need anything based in fear. All our fears are unfounded. There's a great, great gospel song. Oh, Mary, don't you weep, don't you moan. All your fears are unfounded. Oh, Mary, don't you weep. Brilliant, brilliant. Because all those things based in fear are unnecessary. The best thing, what we're here to do, is the other dominant emotion is love. The other basic essential emotion is love. Get into our hearts. There's so many different paths for different people. So many. We've already talked about like the path of mind, the first thing, mind. Well, there's also just the path of heart, being in heart. That was my mother's path, really. She just stayed in her heart. She just had unconditional love for everyone. She was an amazing, amazing, unique person. That's a simple path, the path of love, and it overcomes ancestral karma. He also asks, what are your thoughts on the future of things? I do agree with Martin Luther King here, saying that eventually, historically, love will overcome fear. Eventually, we do grow in consciousness. We are an evolving species. We're evolving tremendously quickly. There are certain species like dolphins and sharks where they've found skeletal remains from 100 million years ago that are unchanged. And when I heard that, I thought, interesting. Dolphins and sharks 100 million years ago, 100 million, that's dinosaurs were around then, right? Reached a point where they said, I'm I'm happy with this level of evolution. I love being a shark. I love being a dolphin. And they didn't change. They haven't changed in 100 million years. Some species have. Well, look at humans. Look at how much we've changed in just the last even 35,000 years, which is nothing in the sweep of history. We're an evolving being. We're all evolving, and we're here to evolve. And so I do think in the future, slowly, slowly, we take a few steps forward, we take a few steps backward, all collectively and personally, but eventually we grow to love more. Eventually, we understand Christ's great central teaching. A new law I give unto you, love one another as I have loved you. There are so many so-called Christians, people that call themselves Christian, that seem to have forgotten the central teaching of Christ. So let's return to the central teachings, the original thing. Return to love. I know I need to stretch, but I just don't know in what way. I feel like I need a clear life plan. I know I have gifts to share, but I'm not sure how, and it's frustrating. Um, that's a good observation. That's a good observation, and that's where the power of an ideal scene comes into play. Uh, that's where the simple exercise I learned at a workshop when I was 28, which started this whole thing, started my uh, transformation, really, you could call it. It was simply this man named Ken Kaiser wrote a book called Handbook to Higher Consciousness. He did these amazing weekend seminars, and on at one point, oh no, that's where I got the core belief process, which the belief, yeah, with Ken Kaiser, it was a tool to change your beliefs that I always bring into every workshop. It really helps change beliefs. No, the ideal seed process was simply during a disastrous back to the land experiment I tried when I was about 22. We were sitting around a fire, and this couple said, "Let's play this game we play at church camp." They taught at a church camp every summer. They said, well, let's just imagine 5 years have passed and everything has gone as well as you could imagine. What would your life look like? And we all went around the fire with our ideal scene. And I don't remember a word of what I said. But the day I turned 30, I remembered that. And this time I wrote it down. And so that's what I would say in response to this question. I feel like I need a clear life plan. Yes. Sit down and imagine, really imagine what your dream is for 5 years from now. And keep coming back to it. And you might find it changing a lot. You might find total a totally different thing you want to do, but include what you want to do, who you want to be, even what you want to have, do, be, and have for your ideal scene. And keep playing with it until you find that dream that you say, this is worthwhile for me. This is what I want to do with my life. This is my dream. and then take the first few steps toward that dream. Do whatever you can do. The simple process I did was to stare at my ideal scene and write a list of goals. And then I stared at those goals and I wrote each goal as an affirmation. I am now creating the life of my dreams. And I had it in an easy and relaxed manner, in a healthy and positive way, in its own perfect time for the highest good of all. And I stared at those affirmations and started to make little plans for every one of my goals, little simple one-page plans. And then I just stared at those little plans and put one thing in my calendar to do that week, at least one thing to move ahead on that plan. And that was it for me. That was the simple process that I used the day I turned 30 that really changed my life, really changed my life. So if you feel you need a clear life plan, yes, that's the best possible thing to do, right? To just sit and imagine 5 years have passed. What do you want? Keep imagining that until you find the right thing, and the right thing will feel good to every cell in your body. And the right thing will stay with you. It won't change. Now, maybe down the road it might change. I've been through a few different things. A lot of people have, but it's enough to move ahead on that, move ahead on that, and then it may naturally evolve and change into something else, and that's fine. That's wonderful. So, another question. What you've created in your life is simply amazing. Oh, thank you. It it is kind of amazing. I was reflecting the other day how I really do think, and I didn't realize this until years afterwards, but I was a totally different person the evening of my 30th birthday than I was the morning of my 30th birthday. I really think so. That one day I spent alone, pacing up and down. I woke up my usual self, scrounging around to get a buck and a quarter for a latte. And in my slum apartment, I had no money. I had no job. I did all these little part-time things. I had no vision. I had no dream, really. I was just sort of doing a day at a time. And that's who I was when I woke up. By that evening, I had written my ideal scene down. Much to my amazement, it said, I have a successful publishing company. I'd never had anything to do with business. I'd been a musician and an actor and a spiritual seeker and tried all kinds of different things in my 20s, but never a business at all. I didn't know a thing about business. But what spilled out when I said ideal scene, oh, I have a successful publishing company, publishes my books and other books, and blah, 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 blah. So I just wrote my ideal scene, did my goals, affirmations, and plans were starting to form by the end of the day. And so I was a different person. By the end of the day, I had a dream. I had a dream. I had a vision of where I wanted to go with my life, what I wanted to do next. I wasn't even thinking of an entire lifetime at all. I never knew this company would continue for 50 years, which it just about has now. But all I knew was I wanted to start this publishing company, and that was my dream. And I called my dad. I said, I'm going to start a publishing company. And he said, well, most businesses fail their first 2 years. And I realized, oh, okay, I can't share my dreams with this guy because he'll shoot him down because he's mirroring my own doubts and fears. And so I waited. I didn't talk much at all about the business with him for the next 2, 3 years until it started doing something. And then he was amazed. Okay. What you've created in your life is simply amazing, and the tools you share to get there sound so simple and easy. Yes, they are simple and easy. I grappled with that because they are so simple. There is a part of our minds, our inner critic or inner skeptic, which is the worst. You got to get rid of the skeptic. The critic can be helpful, but that say, "Oh, it's not that simple. Can't be that simple." When we get these things, we get them in very simple language. All the great teachings of the great teachers, when you think about it, they're very simple, aren't they? A new law I give unto you, love one another as I have loved you. How much more simple could you get? Buddha's great first talk, he basically says there's four great truths. The first is, and he used the word dukkha, and I saw a great translation of it on a T-shirt in Berkeley. In big black letters, it said, "Life is a bitch, and then you die." I saw that. I said, "That's the best translation of Buddha's first truth I've ever seen," because most people translate it as, "Life is unsatisfactory," or unsatisfying, or frustrating, or whatever, you know. But it's very simple. Buddha's teaching is very simple. Life is a bitch, yes, but there's other truths that we can find a place of peace that is totally, totally beyond all suffering. We can have a life with no problems, no problems. And it's not complicated. So the tools you share to get there sound so simple and easy, yes. Yet I've been struggling with getting our finances back on track. You and about 300 million others in this country. I do use your mantra regularly in an easy and relaxed manner and healthy and positive way. My income is increasing in a magical way. Oh, that's good. I like that. In an easy and relaxed manner and happy and positive way. My income is increasing in a magical way. I even sing it sometimes. There seems to be a block, and whatever we're trying to do just doesn't get all the way to the end. Some little thing crops up, or just at the final stage, something doesn't work out. What would you do? I'd become aware that those all those little things that pop up, it's not the universe out there doing it. It's your own mind. It's your own mind that it has still some beliefs. Your belief seems to be some deep underlying belief that something crops up to sabotage you at the final stages, or that even you have some kind of block to your success, or uh, get my book or take the course and do the core belief process and find in your own words what that belief is and try to express it as simply as possible. This is what I would do. I'd find the belief that is holding you back. When I did my financial thing, the core belief around finances, I put it in as simple terms as I could. What I came up with was realizing I had the belief that I was a fool with money out of control. That's what came up. I'm a fool with money out of control. And so I came up with a counter statement, powerful affirmation that really felt good to me. I just said, I am sensible and in control of my finances. I am creating total financial success in an easy and relaxed manner a healthy and positive way. Those words for me, I am sensible and in control of my finances, were powerful. They were life changing. It felt like I could feel an immediate change almost. Before that, I really thought, oh, money is so complicated. I can't handle it. I just, you know, I really thought I was a fool with money and I was out of control. And it was somehow money was very complicated. But as soon as I said I'm sensible and in control of my finances, it all got very simple. Very simple. Money is not complicated at all. No, it's very simple. You just have to somehow find a way to make more money than you spend. That's not a difficult concept. Doesn't require any higher mathematics other than adding and subtracting. If you can do percentages, that's helpful too, I found. But no, it is simple. And so you can find a simple way to resolve this by do that core belief process. Find out what that sabotaging belief really is. Maybe it's just what you've already exactly wrote. There is a block. There seems to be a block. And whatever we're trying to do just doesn't get all the way to the end. Okay, turn that around. Counter statement. There are no blocks to my success. Although it's good not to have a negative in your affirmation or counter statement, I think. Say, I'm achieving success easily and effortlessly. Something like that. Whatever words work for you. We're all different. Different words work for different people. And some things I suggest might be not at all helpful, but I that's why I always keep saying change things, change everything. I met a woman who told me her yoga teacher, she did a regular yoga class, and the teacher would give the traditional yoga things, and then the teacher would say, make some change in every one of these. Make something in there work for you. Change it in some way that works for you. And I thought, oh, that's interesting advice for sure, for life in general. I just want to share that your book, The Greatest Secret of All, is one of the easiest to read. Oh, thank you. And I have it by my bedside and often just open to a page for instant inspiration. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. That's always nice to hear. I'm fond of that book too. Greatest Secret of All is it's short and sweet. That's for sure. Here's another. I am a 64-year-old female USAF veteran, United States Air Force, huh? Veteran. And Leo, a Leo, okay. Okay, I know all about Leos. Uh, Quite the late bloomer. I've started my own business, which I plan to operate as a for-profit social enterprise. Does it make sense? Can I be successful? I love that question. Yes, it makes total sense. And yes, you can be successful. You definitely can be successful. Anything you can think of, there have been people who have created real success around it. There's other people that have sort of made it work sort of okay for a while. And there's other people that have failed miserably at it. Any idea you could think of, you know. It's very rare to get something entirely brand new, though. There are there are some cases of that. Maybe like the iPhone or something was an entirely brand new technology. But usually, for most people, whatever ideas we have for business, a for-profit social enterprise sounds good. Yes, it makes sense. And yes, you can totally be successful. Totally be successful. Um, not only that, you can have success with ease. I'm, I've proven that to myself. That was from the very beginning when I dared do my ideal scene. First, I imagined my dream life. And then as I thought, I kept thinking about it. And I said, you know, another great part of my dream is I want a life of ease. I don't want to work too hard. My doubts and fears said, impossible. You want to create your own business? And I heard my dad's words, oh, you got to work 60 to 80 hours a week if you have your own business. That was his belief. That's why he never started a business. He did say in his old age, he said, finally, after encouraging his three sons to go to work for corporations like he did, so much advice we get from other people, what they're really doing is telling you what they would do. You know, they're not reflecting your wants and needs, they're reflecting their own. And so take every bit of advice from anyone else, including me, with a huge grain of salt. Take it in. Does that work for me? Does that work for me? No, I want to do something completely different, perhaps. So for my much to my dad's amazement, I uh, I tacked on to my ideal scene that I had a life of ease. I didn't work too hard, and from the beginning, I had been a musician and actor. I loved those hours. You never did a thing till 1 in the afternoon. So I I didn't do mornings. And then once we got rolling, I quit doing Mondays too, because I never liked Mondays. It's an emotional day. People don't want to go to work on Monday usually, in my experience. So I just do, afternoons, and so I do it in my own lazy way, and it works. It works. So you can make it work. You can definitely be successful doing what you love. That is my message. And my dad, as I was at the end of his life, said if he had to do it over again, he'd never go to work for the big corporation for 35, 40 years. He'd he'd try his own thing. He made beautiful little woodwork things. He made toy trains that worked for kids with cars, and he, he I saw him doing that hobby of his, and I said to him, Dad, you could turn this into a wonderful business. These are great toys that you're making. And yeah, I know, no. But he never did because of fear. And my oldest brother too started his own company, and then oh, it's too stressful for him. Too stressful. He was much older than me, so I was young when he did that and didn't know this stuff yet. I was in my early 20s, and had I known then what I know now, I would have said to him, you don't have to, it's not necessary to create a stressful environment when you create your own company. You can create your own company without stress because what is stress? It's something you're creating yourself. It's something your own mind is creating. It's not out there in the world. You can deal with stress. You can let stress go. That opening meditation we did, let all stress go. Let all stress go, didn't it? You can do that. You can do that through the day. You can create success with ease and without stress. Stress is self-imposed. And that's a good thing because we can deal with it. How do I stimulate my ability to feel secure about promoting what I do to a larger audience? Ah, that's a good one. Um, Promoting what I do to, yeah, if you're doing something worth doing, uh, you want a lot of people affected. I am working on writing a bestseller about my journey with my mentally challenged son, and I am working with your Get Published workshop. Um, okay, that's a it sounds like a good topic. Uh, Mentally challenged son, a whole lot of we're doing a lot of books about, okay, you could say mentally challenged kids, or there's so many names now. But if you're writing something um, that comes from your heart, something valuable for one person, then it's valuable for millions of people. And there's no need to feel insecure about promoting it, because if you believe in what you've done, and I can see from your question, you really have a heart behind what you're doing. And so you want to reach as many people as possible, right? So don't worry about promoting what you do. Many people have fears when it gets into promotion. And when we look at those fears, they're unfounded. What are the fears? Fears of failure, fears of ridicule, fears of I don't know, people, a worst case scenario, you're being attacked for your beliefs or something. Um, those fears are like all other fears, just they're things that are not serving us. We don't need them. There's no need to feel insecure about promoting what you do. If if you like what you do, uh, then you want to promote it as wide as possible. Every book I publish, I would love to see on the New York Times bestseller list, every one, uh, because I only do titles that I feel deserve that kind of wide readership and support, and each one has heart and vision, every one we do. Um, and so I encourage every author to promote as much as possible, and we do, of course, whatever we can do here. Uh, don't fear success, definitely. Uh, Almost every successful person I've known has had some remarkable failures. I often say, one of my favorite activities is sitting around with successful friends of mine, in the evenings, having dinner or something, and start telling stories about our worst failures, the worst, most embarrassing, most difficult, because after time, what seems like a real crisis and a bad situation at the time, uh, after time passes, it can get quite funny. They're quite funny. My failure stories. Maybe someday I could do a whole thing just for fun, for people, just like, uh, you know, A Life of Failures by Marc Allen. That would be fun, because I've really had some embarrassing things. And the reason they get funny is our failures really teach us. We find through failure, we learn so much more than even through success, because success, we just don't, things are cooking. And failure, you look back, you know exactly what went wrong and exactly what not to do next time. And so they're valuable parts of our education, really. So don't fear failure. Don't fear uh, promoting your work. You're trying to do something you love, so go for it. Um, She's working with my Get Published workshop, but I get stuck at needing to find famous people to endorse my work. Ah, that I have not yet finished. Yeah, that can be that requires some chutzpah to approach famous people with your work, and but go for it, do it. Uh, Contact them, tell them why you love their work. It's always good to compliment them first, and to show them you know what they're about, and not like I'm always impressed by people that approach me and know something about either my history or the company's history or something. It makes a big difference. So, and yeah, I know uh, it's a real challenge to find famous people to endorse your work. Um, that I have not yet finished. Yeah, if you, um, some people would want to just see a finished work. Um, Others hardly want to see anything if they like the idea. Uh, ju they just need a little bit. Others, some very famous writers we've dealt with, endorsements have asked us to write the endorsements for them, so they don't know. Uh, one writer is sort of infamous around here. He's endorsed several of our books. You'd know his name, so I won't say it, but it's not Eckhart. But he says, write three endorsements in my name, and he basically picks one. Okay, yeah, this is good, and so we get an endorsement from him that we wrote. You know, so. But yeah, it's that's to me one of the something I don't really enjoy doing either, going to other famous authors with my book in my hand saying, would you endorse my book? That's why I started my publishing company. I didn't want to go to a publisher and say, would you publish my book? I said, no, I can do it myself. How hard can it be? So, but you haven't finished, and you're based in the Netherlands. Yeah, that can, in terms of American publishing, work against you. Though there's certainly a whole lot of activity in Europe. We've had we've had some European writers that have been successful here, some African writers that have been successful, and Asian too. Um, Australian writers too that we've published successfully. But it is more of a challenge. Uh, but keep that vision clear. You're going to get your book published. You're going to finish your book. It's going to come from your heart. You get it published. And I mean, these days, there's really no excuse not to be published because of Amazon. If you can't find a publisher, fine. Head go to Amazon, self-publish, get it on Amazon. Then, if you can sell, say, a couple thousand copies on Amazon, you can always go back to publishers and say, I self-published and I don't know what I'm doing on promotion, even if you're promoting like crazies. I don't know what I'm doing, but I sold a couple thousand. You'll get their attention and some publishers might pick you up. Or you might just continue to be successful self-publishing. Um, I have met several authors now that are doing so well self-publishing they didn't want me to publish. No, that's really great, really great.
Well, Mark, I sorry to cut in here. I can't believe it's already 3 o'clock.
Oh man, time flies.
I
Okay,
know
yes.
it sure does. Well, we were talking about, I'm not sure if you have any questions left, but we also wanted to save a few minutes to open it up if
Okay,
anyone
great.
had any
I
questions
just
to
had
ask.
one other question about this. Someone is interested in my course and a one-on-one private session, and they're local nearby and would like to meet in person, and that's fine with me. A, I I'm happy to meet you as well as, Zoom or phone or however. So sure, a private session is fine. So
Awesome. We were joking before the call started that we're all moving to California for our private one-on-one in-person session with Mark.
great, great.
Yeah, we'll see you there. All right, well, we'll go ahead. I know we're running a bit over, but if you guys can stick around and if you have any questions for Mark, you can raise your hand and we will call on you. Raise your virtual hand.
Good, good. Time always flies when I do these.
Sorry, I've muted myself.
Hmm.
I know. While we're waiting to see, I know there was a question here from Cassia, so let me find it for us. Cassia asked, do you think the universe brings us some adversity so that we can get in touch with our power of manifestation within?
Yes, I do. I do. I think, and that's well worded. And yes, in fact, again, I just heard Eckhart saying virtually the same thing. It's through the times of an adversity that we really learn, we really grow. And without it, we wouldn't be the people we are. So there's a good reason for all the adversity in our lives. A very good reason. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we've got to grow somehow. Darn it. Well, it seems like we're having some praise. All right. Does anyone have any questions that you want to ask Mark? Or are we good? You can in the little chat. I'm trying to. Oh no, it's in the reactions. If you click reactions, you can do the little hand raise, and we'll see, and we can call on you. So we'll give it another minute to see if anybody's got anything for us here.
I see. Huh.
Technology. I'm going to well, in the meantime, while we're waiting, we did want to let you guys know, of course, doors are open to the next cohort of a year on the Magical Path. We're kicking off in mid-January. And we really wanted to offer you guys something special for coming here today. So Mark is going to offer a special small group coaching there in January, aside from the course. So it'll be a smaller group like this, open it up. You'll be able to talk to Mark a little bit, better, just a little bit more intimate so that you guys can get to know each other better. So if you join us on the Magical Path, there's 10 seats available for that. So first come, first serve. If you're here, we would love for you to hop in and save your seat for the full year course and then also for that small group coaching. So you can sign up at markallen.com/magical path. We've been popping it in the chat there for you guys. Yeah, thank you, Sonia. We're so glad that all of you guys joined us. Thank you so much. I'm going to pass it over to Tony for just a bit so he can close us out, but we really appreciate you guys being here with us.
Well, thank you, Amber. And of course, everybody, a little virtual applause for Mark Allen, the sage he is, to have the blessing to learn from him live. Mark, I could listen for hours. I'm certain everybody on this call would say the same. So thank you again for blessing us with your grace, with your compassion, and with your gift of simplicity. It is just so remarkable. It's changed our lives. And listeners of the Success with Ease shows, this is a gift from Amber and Mark to you. So make certain you give the show a 5-star rating. And everybody joining this, make certain you don't miss out. Magical Path, make 2026, right? It's the year, if you're an American, of where we declared our independence. And Mark wants you to declare your independence so that you can actually develop your own constitution and truly create the magical path of the life of your dreams. So, Mark Allen, thank you as always. You got to bring us home, Mark. Land the plane with your classic line. What's one last piece of advice outside of enrolling in your course that you want all listeners to leave
I
here doing?
always do the same thing as just dare to dream and go for it. You'll never, ever regret it. Go for it. May the force be with you. It is with you. The force is with you. Go for your dreams.
Amen. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Amber. And most importantly, thank you all for being part of this great event.